Hey there, mindful people, and welcome to my enlightenment journey where I document my process on how I become spiritually enlightened. I have been meditating for 25 minutes every single day for the past 21 days. Now, I've actually been meditating before that, but I was never really consistent, and I only meditated back then 10 minutes. Also, I gotta add that I didn't do self-inquiry, which now I do every Tuesday, Thursday, and on the weekends. And that has helped me a lot in discovering the truth. And I actually meditated more on some days, more than 25 minutes, because it's really mind-blowing what you discover. So I'm going to tell you what I have discovered, but before that I'm going to briefly tell you what there is to discover and what spiritual enlightenment is. To what I have understood so far, it is knowing that you are not you. There is no you. And there are many ways to get to that. You might be asking yourself why on earth you would want that. Well, it's kind of a liberation if you really think about it, because the ego is actually the one that is causing suffering. Now, you will still have pain, okay, but suffering is what is something that the ego is doing. So anyway, there are many ways to get to there, like self-inquiry, yoga, psychedelics, although I have not taken that yet for self-inquiry, contemplation, and concentration. Now, all of these tips are actually from Leo for actualize.org. He is much further than I am, and he has informed himself a lot on this topic, so therefore he's kind of my mentor. I'm not relying 100% on his information, but for now, kind of yes. I had a glimpse into reality, and this reality is that there is no you. Now, you might be wondering, what, Winnie? Are you crazy? Are you totally out of your mind? There is no you. Yeah, this does not exist. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, what you see, like, there is still the body, okay? I'm not saying that all of what you see is fake. Although, when you get a bit further, or when I get a bit further, I might come to the realization, like Leo, that everything is an illusion. But for now, I have just discovered that I am the pure awareness. So when you ask yourself the question, who am I? You might say, well, I'm me. I'm Winnie. Oh, why would you ask something like that? Okay, but who is aware of that? Like, someone is aware of that thought, right? When you say, like, I'm me here, it's Winnie. Well, right now I'm saying it, but if you're like meditating, right, you're not saying it out loud, but you're saying it in your mind, that is a thought. So I'm like, but I'm not a thought, right? So I'm like, but who's aware of that thought, right? So I have not come to that conclusion yet. So I would ask different questions like, okay, am I like my hand? Okay, that's quite silly to think that you are your hand. But who knows? So I would say, like, no, it's part of me, right? So if something happened, like something bad, and I had an accident and I didn't have a hand, then I would still be me without a hand, right? So it's part of me, but it's not me, right? So I'm like, okay, then who am I? Who am I really? I'm like, Well, of course, I'm the brain. You see, I love psychology, right? And so psychology has a lot, or actually everything to do with the brain. And so I think that I am the brain. Like right now that I can talk, that is being processed by the brain, right? We have different parts of the brain, like the amygdala, the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, the basal ganglia, and all of that. And I'm like, yeah, I am the brain. I am controlling everything what I'm doing right now. Like all these movements, it's being processed right here. The pain that I feel is also processed in here. Everything what I feel, what I hear, see, taste, say, obtaining information, everything is processed in here. So I'm like, I'm the brain. Like, yo, I'm the brain. Maybe some of you can resonate with this. Like, maybe some of you think that you are perhaps your heart or your soul or whatever it is. But in my case, it was the brain. And so I had a long conversation with Leo, again, for actualize.org, because he has a forum, he has a website, and yeah, and he said, in your direct experience, like right now, are you really your brain? I'm like, yeah, I am my brain. Like, how else am I going to process everything? And so this is like, you kind of then notice, or I notice, that that is actually like a belief. I'm like so convinced that it is the brain. I'm like, yeah, but it is the brain because it is scientifically proven. Like, it is proven, scientifically proven. That was my argument. And so it does not matter whether it is scientifically proven or not. Like right now, this is, there cannot be anything else that is more true than right now, that I experience right now, right? I'm really emphasizing that, right now. Yeah, then I'm like, okay, you know what? Right now, who am I? So I would close my eyes, right? I would ask these questions. I'm like, okay, who am I? And these, when I ask that, that's a thought, right? But there is someone who is seeing that thought, right? When, like right now, if you do that, like when you ask yourself that question in your mind, you ask, who am I? That's a thought, but someone is looking at that thought. You cannot be the thought because the thought cannot see itself, right? So there is something that is seeing that thought. I'm like, okay, what is that? That is me. Because when I'm like the touch, the sound and all of that, and like all of the senses, right? Hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thoughts, like all of that, I am aware. So I'm like, oh my God, I am the awareness. And what is the awareness? It's freaking empty. It has like it has nothing to it, right? It has no properties. It's like, it's just there. It's like everywhere. It's nothing, but it's also everywhere. Like here, like when I'm hearing things. And so yeah, that's kind of the glimpse that I got into it. And every thought that I then had, I'm like, okay, those thoughts are all preconditioned somehow. Like everything is kind of conditioned, whether it's from your childhood or habits that you have kind of, do you say accumulated? Habits that you're formed later in your life. But like when you really become aware that you are the awareness, like whoa, like seriously, whoa. But then, you know, questions that still arise, like, or that I am confused about from time to time is like, okay, if I'm the awareness, then who's actually talking right now? Like, who's like taking actions and all of the reactions and all of that? And that is where sometimes I know it, but then sometimes I don't. And that is where I am right now. So there's kind of like the ego and the true self and the awareness. So these three terms, I am still, yeah, that's where I'm at currently. But yeah, that is my journey so far. 21 days. Maybe for some of you, if you decide to pursue this, then you might take shorter, you might take longer, but it's really, it really varies. It really varies. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I hope you kind of enjoyed it. If you did, then please like it, because it tells YouTube, hey, this video was not bad. Let's share it. Also, if you're new here, new here, then consider subscribing. If you want to follow along my journey, how I master the mind to become my best self. Although there is no self, or is there? I don't know. And yeah, also tell me something about you. Are you following or pursuing? God, I'm coming up with words here. Pursuing spiritual enlightenment, or what are you doing, and what do you think about this? Would be nice if you shared with me your take on this down below. And remember to have your vision, be patient, and always be grateful for what you have, because you are freaking awesome. Thank you.